So, you are reading the Bible for the very first time. I love that thought that there you are, maybe taking the first step that could lead to 1,000 beautiful steps that get you closer to God. I say that not just to say it, because for the past quarter century, I've been living it. When I was in middle school, maybe early high school, I decided to start reading the Bible as a daily habit. This was before the days of smartphones. I won't date myself too much. I had little notebooks where I wrote out the books of the Bible and the chapters with little boxes that I would check. And as a box checking guy, I love that. That was the early mid 90s. And do you know what I did this morning? The exact same thing. The notebooks are gone. I have Bible apps and stuff and paper copies. But 25 years later, I find myself reading the exact same book. Isn't that crazy? I love reading, but I rarely read a book for a second time. But this book has something so beautiful, I should say someone so powerful, that for the last 25 years, that's what I've been doing every single day. Not out of habit, not out of obligation, not because I have to, but because I want to. I get to listen to the voice of my Father in heaven. And that's why I'm so excited for you. In these videos, we've been talking about what to do if you're brand new. If you don't know much about this big book, what do you do and where do you start? And if you haven't seen those videos, I'd encourage you to click on them, because we talked about finding someone who knows the Bible. We talked about starting with Jesus in Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Then we talked about reading the sequel to the life of Jesus, the book of Acts. And that brings us to today. Now what do you do? You've studied the life of Jesus, you heard about the early Christian church, you learned about Peter and Paul and John and all the rest, so sounds like you got 61 other books to choose from. Which one do you choose? Well, here's a cool insider tip. Did you know that there is a Bible hack to understanding the toughest part of the Bible? This is just my opinion, but I think the toughest part of the Bible to understand is this big chunk in the beginning that we call the Old Testament. Right? It would take you about 52 hours for an average reader to read the entire Old Testament, 39 separate books written long time ago, different cultures, different people, a lot of things that are difficult to wrap your brain around. But did you know, to help you with that, God gave you a Bible hack? Here in the pages of the New Testament is a little book called the book of Hebrews. And it won't take you 50 hours to read. It'll take you about 45 minutes if you're an average reader. And I describe the book of Hebrews like the Cliff's Notes of the Old Testament. Right? It kind of touches on the very basics. It introduces you to people like Moses and like David, concepts like the temple or the sacrifices in the Old Testament system. It obviously doesn't get into every detail of the Old Testament, but it does kind of give you the big picture, the box top, before you dive into all the individual puzzle pieces. And so my encouragement to you is to, with a close friend, to read the book of Hebrews. And as you read, you're going to start learning about people. There'll be little hyperlinks that we can click on later. But more than anything, we're going to reiterate and reinforce the fact that Jesus is worth it. Let me give you just a minute of context. The book of Hebrews was written to first century Christians who were considering to stop being Christians. They'd followed Jesus, they believed in Jesus, but now things were getting hard. They were being persecuted for their faith. Much like what happened in the book of Acts, it was happening to them, and they thought about letting go of Jesus. And so the author to the Hebrews, we're not quite sure who that was, writes this powerful letter to remind them that everything good in the Old Testament, in Jesus, we find something better. He is greater. He is stronger. He is worthy. It might cost you. It might not be easy to follow in his footsteps and to hold on to his teaching, but Jesus is absolutely worth it. And that's not just an interesting historical message, right? That is so personal for me and for you to follow Jesus. Not just to take the time to read this each day, but to really follow his teaching, to love our enemies, to forgive our exes, to trust in His word instead of what most people believe these days. That is difficult. Not everyone loves it. There might even be harassment, persecution, mockery. Is Jesus worth it? You could read the whole Old Testament if you want the answer to that question, or you could jump to the book of Hebrews. I've told some of you about a conference I went to with my friend Ben, who is a pastor, the guy who just couldn't leave home without this book. Well, we got to the conference, and actually the entire thing was about the book of Hebrews. And the title of the conference, I brought my conference booklet with me here today, was Jesus is Greater, based on the book of Hebrews. You can find life, health, love, romance, power, success, entertainment, experiences. There's a lot of good things you could have in this world, but Jesus is greater. And the book of Hebrews wants you to know it. So, there's a lot more to talk about it. I can't wait in our next video to give you a good plan from here. But for now, if you really want to get the Old Testament, and most importantly, if you want to get why Jesus is worth it, read the book of Hebrews. Did you enjoy this video? Well, we would love to share with you so much more. Just click here.